Hi, welcome back to my story time with Nana. I have a great story for you tonight. I hope you're just as excited as I am. Let's begin. Elizabeth and Colin. Ding dong! Aunt Jackie pressed the doorbell button on the front porch. She could hear the click-clack of someone coming towards the door. Aunt Jackie, said the woman at the door, thank you so much for coming tonight and watching the children for us. Oh, please, said Aunt Jackie, waving her arm. It's my pleasure. Besides, Elizabeth and Colin are my two favorites to babysit. We always have so much fun. Well, come on in. The children will be so happy to see you. I didn't tell them you were coming. Aunt Jackie followed her down the long hallway that led to a very large room. On one side was a living area with chairs, a sofa, big screen TV, and on the other side was a kitchen. The kitchen had a small nook with a table and chair set surrounded by windows. It was very cozy. The children were sitting on the sofa and never even noticed that Aunt Jackie was there. Hello, Colin and Elizabeth, she said. What's a girl gotta do to get some hugs around here? Aunt Jackie, they cried out, leaping off the sofa and into her arms. She gave them big hugs and kisses. Boy, have I missed you, she told them. You give the best hugs ever. Well, we learned how to hug from you, Aunt Jackie, Elizabeth said, squeezing her even tighter. And Aunt Jackie squeezed her back. What are you doing here? Asked Colin. Your mommy and daddy are going out of town overnight, and they asked me to keep an eye on you. Though I don't know how, since my eyes don't come out of my head, but I can certainly babysit you for the night. Oh, Aunt Jackie, you're so funny, laughed Elizabeth. So, what are we going to do first? Asked Colin. Well, as soon as your parents leave, we are going to get dinner ready, she said. We're making my famous meatloaf and mashed potatoes. Yay! They cried out. We love your meatloaf, especially your secret ingredient. I know, and that's why tonight I'm going to teach you how to make it, Aunt Jackie told them. This way you'll be able to have it for dinner whenever you want. What about after dinner? Asked Elizabeth. Oh, I brought a movie. I'm sure you'll like it, Aunt Jackie said. Looks like your mommy and daddy are heading out. Let's say goodbye. Aunt Jackie, Elizabeth, and Colin waved goodbye as Mommy and Daddy pulled out of the driveway. Mommy blew kisses to the children, and they caught them in midair and smacked them on their cheeks. Okay, kiddos, let's get dinner ready. They went into the kitchen, and Elizabeth and Colin helped Aunt Jackie get the ingredients together. And now for the secret ingredient, Aunt Jackie said, pulling out a box of cheddar cheese fish crackers. Oh my goodness! Behold the fish that make our meatloaf fancy and cheesy. The children clapped. The fish were their favorite part of Aunt Jackie's meatloaf. They mixed the ground beef, eggs, salt, pepper together, and then added a big bunch of cheesy cheddar fish and mixed them in as well. It looked like the fish were swimming in meat. The children and Aunt Jackie shaped the meat into a loaf and then poured cheddar cheese soup on top. Now that's a cheesy meatloaf, Aunt Jackie said, and the children laughed. It sure was. As they were laughing, the lights flickered and flickered and flickered, and poof, out went the lights. Oh no, cried out Elizabeth. The power is out. Now what are we going to do? Let me think, Aunt Jackie answered. We can't let this magnificent meatloaf go to waste. I have an idea, she said. Aunt Jackie put the meatloaf in the fridge. Let's go outside for a minute. But it's almost dark now, Colin said. And we don't like the dark, Aunt Jackie, Elizabeth answered. Nothing to be afraid of. Besides, it's not all the way dark yet, and I'll be with you, she told them. I have an idea about dinner. Let's go outside for a minute. Aunt Jackie and the children walked over to the grill. Everything's going to be fine, Aunt Jackie told them. Let's go inside and get a few things together. Colin, can you find a flashlight and some candles? Aunt Jackie instructed. Elizabeth, I need your help with the potatoes. While Colin searched for a flashlight, Elizabeth and Aunt Jackie prepped the potatoes, wrapping them in foil. Look what I found in the garage, came Colin, holding a big cardboard box. 3 flashlights and all these candles. Perfect! Now we can still have a wonderful dinner, she told them. Elizabeth carried the potatoes outside while Colin brought the box with flashlights and candles, and Aunt Jackie carried the meatloaf. We're going to have meatloaf steaks, she said. Yummy! Elizabeth and Colin cried out, clapping their hands. These are going to be the best steaks ever! Aunt Jackie started the grill and put the potatoes on the grate. We just have to wait a little while. Potatoes take a little longer to cook, and then we can start slicing off our meatloaf steaks. This is going to be an interesting dinner, she said. Let's take a little walk around the yard with the flashlights. But it's getting dark. What can we do in the dark? I have an idea, said Elizabeth. Let's pretend like we're fireflies. Yeah, we can flick our flashlights off and on, and then it won't feel so dark out there. I'll be the mommy firefly, said Aunt Jackie, looking for my baby fireflies. The children began running around the backyard, flicking their flashlights off and on, off and on. And when the light was on, Aunt Jackie could see them perfectly. But when the flashlight was off, all she could see was the shadow of them. She ran about the yard trying to catch Elizabeth and Colin, but they were too fast for her. After a while of trying to catch the baby fireflies, Aunt Jackie, the mommy firefly, called out, Okay, my little fireflies, time to come home. We have some meatloaf steaks to cook on the grill. Yippee! Yelled out Colin. Let's eat! Aunt Jackie moved the potatoes aside and put the meatloaf slices on the grill, and boy, did they smell wonderful. She cooked up the meatloaf that way, just in case they wanted to have a meatloaf sandwich later. She set up candles on the patio table while the children brought out dishes and glasses of cold milk and set the table. Aunt Jackie smashed the cooked potatoes. Those look so good, Aunt Jackie, Elizabeth said, pointing to them. They'll be even better with a little salt, pepper, and butter, she told her. I'll go get that, Colin yelled, running into the house. He was back in a jiffy, and Aunt Jackie mashed up the grilled potatoes with the salt, pepper, and butter. They were delicious. Almost as good as the magnificent meatloaf steaks. That was yummy, said Colin, patting his belly. It was. I am full. But what are we going to do now? We can't watch that movie or even have popcorn. It's boring without power. Well, it doesn't look like the power's going to come back on anytime soon, Aunt Jackie said, looking around. We may as well make the best of it. Doing what? Well, I have an idea, she said. Let's get this cleaned up and head inside. We'll wash up the dishes as best we can, and then, well, we'll figure something out. Aunt Jackie, Elizabeth, and Colin finished the dishes with only the light from their flashlights, and then they went into the living room. How about a movie? Said Aunt Jackie. But we don't have power, Elizabeth said. No, we don't. But instead of a movie on TV, we can make up our own movie on the wall. How? Asked Colin. How? Like this. Aunt Jackie gave Elizabeth her flashlight. Shine the light on my hands, she told her. The children could see Aunt Jackie's shadow on the wall. Now watch. Aunt Jackie wrapped her thumbs together and held out her fingers, and suddenly on the wall, a bird was flying. Wowee! Elizabeth called out. Can you show us how to do that? Sure, let's set up the flashlights so we can all do hand shadows. The children propped the flashlights and Aunt Jackie showed them how to make dogs and birds and ducks and bunnies. Look, called out Elizabeth. The further you are from the wall, the bigger your animal becomes. I'm going to make a giant dog, Colin said, moving closer and closer to the flashlight. Wow, look how big it is. I have an idea, said Aunt Jackie. I'll tell a story and you act it out on the wall. Elizabeth and Colin loved the idea. Aunt Jackie told a story about little doggies that saved baby birds, and all through the story, the children made shadow puppets on the wall. They did a great job. It was almost better than a movie. And Aunt Jackie clapped and clapped when they were done. After Elizabeth and Colin made their movie, Aunt Jackie set up pillows and blankets and brought the children cookies and milk. I think we should sleep right here tonight. You sit here and I will make a movie for you. Aunt Jackie began her story about an eagle stuck in a ditch and a group of goats that saved her. And when she finished, she bowed and the children clapped and clapped and clapped. That was amazing, Aunt Jackie, even better than a movie, said Elizabeth. My favorite part was when the eagle flew out of the ditch, Colin said, yawning. You're yawning. Looks like someone is tired, Aunt Jackie said, tucking Colin into his blanket. I'm pretty tired too, Elizabeth said, yawning. Oh, we were pretty busy tonight, Aunt Jackie. So Aunt Jackie tucked Elizabeth in too and gave the children kisses and snuggled on the floor close by in her blanket. No one noticed when the power came back on 10 minutes later because they were all sound asleep. Boy, that Aunt Jackie, the power goes out and she makes it a fun time anyway. She's pretty amazing. I hope you enjoyed tonight's story. I enjoyed writing and telling it. And listen, next week is the last of the Aunt Jackie stories, so you're going to want to tune in. Everybody comes back for an encore. Don't forget to share my stories. I hope you enjoyed it. Mwah! See you next week.